do you remember how last week when Ms. Johnson was talking about books and she was talking about beginning, middle, and end? You kind of remember about that?
Yeah.
How you need to summarize? Do you remember what the word summarize? Anybody can raise your hand. Do you remember what summarize meant? If you summarize it, Tristan, what does it mean to summarize? You can't remember? Well, she talked about, books are kind of long. Like the book we're reading today is called Muncha, Muncha, Muncha. And it's a really, really cute book. And I'm going to actually show you on the Elmo, the video of it. But look, it is very cute. But through the book, there's a lot of details. And sometimes when you are summarizing, you don't give every detail. You just get to the basics, your beginning, your middle, and your end. And then you talk about your author's purpose, okay? So I want you to focus, Aiden, I want you to focus and pay attention, and I'm gonna play it for you on the whiteboard, and I want you to focus and think about what happens in the beginning, what happens in the middle, and what happens at the end. And then I want you to think about why the author wrote this book. Did they write it to give you information? Did they write it for entertainment, or are they trying to persuade you of something? So think about that, okay? I want everybody facing the whiteboard. Miss Lacey's gonna play it, okay?
Muncha, 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 written by Candace Fleming, illustrated by G. Brian Karras, and read by Auntie Lee. For years, Mr. McGreely dreamed of planting a garden. He dreamed of getting his hands dirty, of growing yummy vegetables, and of gobbling them all up. But he never once tried it until, this spring, said Mr. McGreely, this spring, by golly, I'm going to plant a garden. So he hoed and he sowed and he watched his garden grow. Lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes. Yum, yum, yummy, said Mr. McGreely. I'll soon fill my tummy with crisp, fresh veggies. But one night, when the sun went down and the moon came up, 3 hungry bunnies appeared. Tippy, 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 pat. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his gnawed sprouts, he was angry. So he built a small wire fence all around his vegetable garden. There, he declared, no bunny can get into my garden now. And the sun went down, and the moon came up, and tippy-tippy-tippy-pat. Spring hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his nibbled leaves and gnawed sprouts, he was really angry. So he built a tall wooden wall behind the small wire fence all around his vegetable garden. Humph, he huffed, those flop ears will never get over it. No bunny can get into my garden now. And the sun went down, and the moon came up, and tippy, 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 pat. Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Spring hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was really, really angry. So he made a deep, wet trench outside the tall wooden wall, behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. Ha! He snorted. Those pufftails can't get under it. They can't get over it. No bunny can get into my garden now. And the sun went down, and the moon came up, and tippy, 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 pat. Dive, paddle, splash, splash, splash. Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his chomped blossoms, his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was furious. So he hammered and blocked, sawed and stalked, drilled and filled and trapped and locked, and he built a huge, enormous thing before the deep, wet trench, outside the tall wooden wall, behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. I've outsmarted those twitch whiskers for sure, he exclaimed. They can't get through it, they can't get under it, and they can't get over it. No bunny, no way, no how can get into my vegetable garden now. And the sun went down, and the moon came up, and tippy, 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 stop. The 3 hungry bunnies looked and smelled and touched the huge, enormous thing before them, and tippy, 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 pat. The bunnies hopped away. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his untouched vegetables, he was happy. I beat the bunnies, he whooped and did a jiggly wiggly victory dance. Then he climbed over, jumped across, squeezed between, and crawled under until he reached his vegetable garden. Ah, sighed Mr. McGreely, at last. Smacking his lips, he picked and pulled up lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes, and with his basket overflowing, he reached inside for something yummy. Muncha, muncha, muncha.
Grammarly?
So, thinking about what Miss Lacey, we just talked about, the beginning, middle, and end. What do you think? How did the story begin? Hold it, don't say it yet, wait, hold it, I want you to turn and talk to your neighbor, I want you to wait and think about it. How did the story begin? Where is the beginning of the book? Miss Lacey has a copy right here. What is the beginning? Is this the beginning? If I go all the way to the back?
No.
Or what about if I stop right here about midways?
That's the middle.
That's the middle. So where is the beginning? The first of the book?
On the page.
First. So this is the beginning of the book? Okay. So looking at the pictures and what we just listened to, what was the beginning of the book? Think about it. I want you to turn and tell your neighbor, what do you think happened in the beginning of the book? And then we're going to talk about it. Talk about it with your neighbor.
Nobody talks
Right here, Joe and Vaughn. Y'all three talk together. What do you think happened in the beginning? All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, turn around. I want you to raise your hand. What did your group think, Vaughn? What do you think happened in the beginning of the book?
He was wondering about getting a garden and then he made a garden.
He wanted a garden. Mr. McGreely wanted a garden, so he made one.
Yeah, and then he built a gate so the bunnies don't get in, but they got in. And then he built a wooden tower and then a brick tower.
Okay. So is that just in the beginning, or did that happen throughout the book, like kind of in the middle when he built the gate? So in the beginning, Mr. McGreely wanted a garden. So when we talk about beginning, remember we talked about summarizing and leaving out some of the details. Do I need to go into great detail and talk about every little vegetable he planted?
Yeah.
I do?
No.
No? What do I need to talk about in the beginning? If I'm going to do a sentence and I'm telling my friend about this book, and I'm going to say, in the beginning, what happened? Savannah, I'm going to write a sentence, so you tell me. Vaughn just said it too. He wanted to what? Build a what? Really not.
Garden.
He wanted to grow a vegetable garden. So, and what was his name? What was the character's name? Mr. McGreely. That's a weird name. Mr. McGreely.
We should call him McGriddle.
McGriddle? I mean, I guess.
Mr. McGriddle. Big Bub.
Mr. McGreely wanted to grow a garden. So can we all agree, thumbs up? Is that what the beginning of the book was about? That's what the beginning. Mr. McGreely wanted to grow a garden. All right, now I want you thinking about the middle of the book. What happened in the middle of the book? Try and talk to your neighbor about what happened in the middle of the book. In the middle. Vaughn, what do you think happened in the middle? But why did he have to build those?
The bunny. They were eating snack in the
All right, 5,
Doggy,
4, 3, 2, Leela, 1. Somebody, Aiden, do you know what happened in the middle of the book? Tell me. What was the problem? We knew he wanted to grow a garden, and he grew his garden. We need to add that to it, because he did. The bunnies what?
The bunnies kept eating his gardens.
The bunnies kept eating the what out of his garden?
Vegetables.
Oh, the bunnies. The bunnies ate his garden vegetables. Okay. Let me see. Addison, what else? What else happened in the middle? The bunnies were going tiptoe. It was saying tippy-tap. Yes,
Do
it
it
was.
again.
And that's a
Watch
good-
it again.
That's a good detail. But the bunnies ate his veggies. I'm gonna put vegetables.
Veggies.
Did he like it when they ate his vegetables?
No.
No.
I have a son who was
Why?
mad.
What?
The bunny stepped over the wall and the clock stuck the wall with the hose.
Mhm.
They ate the vegetable.
So they got over the walls. Okay, so we know we're talking about the middle though. Remember when we summarize, that means you take a big long book and you make it short. And you just give the main details. You don't have to tell every little thing, because how many things did he build? He built a little wire fence. He built a tall wall, a wet trench. What else did he do?
He built it up.
Yes, he built big walls. He just kept getting bigger and bigger because he wanted to keep the bunnies out.
But he still kept the little tiny fence. But at
Mhm.
the end, he got bamboozled.
Yeah, he did get bamboozled at the end. We're not talking about the end yet though. So in the middle, his problem is the bunnies ate his vegetables. And how did he fix it? He built what?
A brick wall.
He built
A brick wall.
a brick wall. He did. He built a brick wall. Leela, what else did he do? He built a brick wall. Why did he build a brick wall?
Because the bunny kept on, coming in, and because the bunny kept coming in, kept on coming in and eating his vegetables, so he built a really tall brick wall so they won't get in.
He was trying to keep the bunnies out so they wouldn't eat his vegetables. So, all right, Vaughn, let me see. Rigoberto. So in the beginning, Mr. McGreeley wanted to grow a garden, and so he grew a garden. And then in the middle, the problem was the bunnies ate his vegetables from the garden, and so he built a brick wall. And now we're going to talk about the end. Did it work? I want you to think about it. Don't answer because you're about to talk to your partner. Think about it. Did it work? Did all of his brick walls and all of his gates and wire fences, did it work? Tell me how the book ends. How did it end? Turn and talk to your neighbor. Think about it. Did it work? Think about it. Think about it. They did get his basket, but he did farm on the other so they ended up getting it on the wall.
Yeah, them bags was shot.
Leela, so when the bunnies got in the basket, did they end up eating the vegetables anyway? Was he mad about it? In the last picture, think about it. In the last picture, was he mad about it? Or he didn't share the vegetables? And Sharon, let's see, on his last picture,
We're talking about at the last page he shared.
he was shocked, but he didn't look mad.
two little bag of beans. But wasn't there another picture?
That was it. That was the last picture.
No, there was one where Sarah. Yeah, Sarah voting for Hillary.
Yeah. See?
Let me see. See?
Look at his face.
There
He's like, fine, I'll share.
And then,
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Adeline, tell me something that happened at the end. How did it end?
when he built
Mhm.
the wall, it did work, but when he went to pick them, the bunnies got in the basket, and when he picked the vegetables, they stole them and
Oh my goodness.
weren't shown. But at the end, he shared it with
Leela.
me.
Oh, okay, so she says his brick wall worked, but the bunnies jumped in his basket. Rigoberto, why did he have a basket?
Because he was gonna put vegetables in.
Leela, what was in the basket that he didn't know? What was in the basket?
Bunny.
The bunnies. Okay, so so his brick wall worked, but the bunnies got in anyway.
In
So
the basket.
was he happy that his brick wall worked?
Yeah.
What did it say he did? Aiden? He what?
He climbed over the wall.
He did climb over the wall. The writer, what did it say he did in the book?
He did a victory dance.
He did a victory dance. He was so happy. He's like, I beat the bunnies. I beat the bunnies. He was so happy that he danced. So he was happy.
But then it got ruined. Then it
The wall worked.
No, he got the bunnies way in the basket.
Wait. Hey, wait, we can't all talk at once. Raise your hand. He did get bamboozled. What does that mean? You keep saying bamboozled. What does bamboozled mean?
It means you got tricked.
It means he got tricked. That's a very big word. It means he got tricked. He was happy. The wall worked.
But he got bamboozled.
All right, so what happened? He was so happy the wall worked, so he got his basket and went to pick vegetables. And who was in the basket?
The rabbit.
The bunnies.
It got in the basket.
The bunnies snuck in the basket.
No, bamboozled. No, bamboozled.
All right, the bunnies. What happened after the bunnies snuck in the basket?
He got bamboozled. He got bamboozled.
What was in the basket? What did they do in the basket? When he lifted that, when he lifted it up, what were the bunnies doing? Five, 4, 3. I need you sitting quietly. I can't hear you when you're all talking at once. So one person at a time. I do love the word bamboozled. We have that on there. He did get tricked. He got tricked by the bunnies. We know the bunnies are in the basket. Now, Kaylee, what are they doing in the basket?
They were eating his vegetables.
They ate his vegetables anyway. So they got to the vegetables anyway. He was happy the wall worked. The bunnies were in the basket and they ate his vegetables anyway. I'm going to show you the last picture, Vaughn. I'm going to show you the last picture and I want you to see, look at his face and tell me what he was feeling. They ate his vegetables anyway.
Can he write
Hey, I need you quiet. Okay, so Rigoberto, I'm going to show you this last picture. And then we're going to go over it and see if we're right about how this book is.
You said me.
You too? Why? You can both answer. Think about it.
He was shocked.
Here's the basket. His face is shocked. Yes, Vaughn says it's shocked. Rigoberto, look right here.
He shared.
He shared, but look at his face. Does he seem happy to be sharing?
No, he said he's mad.
He's mad?
He's like, I was mad that they
All right, raise your hand if you think he's mad. Looking at the picture, can you see it? Look at his face. Raise your hand if you think he's mad about
I
it.
can't even see. I can't see.
I'm coming your way. I'm coming your way. Sit on your bottom. Miss Lacey's making her rounds. Vaughn, crisscross applesauce. Excuse me, sir. I'm coming. I see a lot of hands up, so everybody kind of thinks he's mad.
I think he's sad.
You think he's sad?
I think he's shocked.
Sometimes, I think the bunnies are
I
happy.
think he's gonna make a carrot cake.
You think he's gonna make carrot cake? I don't think so. Alright, so, but he's sharing. Do you think maybe he just kinda said, ugh, and he gave up? And he said, fine, I'll share my carrots? He's not really happy about it, but
The
he's
bunnies are so
accepted it.
happy.
He's fine with it. I like that. Gracie says he's fine with it.
I thought
He
it was
has
like
to be.
the blue bunny was copying the man. It was like,
Yeah. So, beginning, middle, and end. I'm gonna read what we summarized. And remember, summarize means you just give a little short description of what's happening. So in the beginning of the story, Mr. McGreely wanted to grow a garden, so he grew a garden. In the middle of the book, the bunnies came and ate his vegetables, and so he built a brick wall. And then in the end, he was happy the wall worked, but then the bunnies snuck in the basket and they ate his vegetables. Is that what the book is about?
yeah.
So, but how does it end? Should we say, what?
Can I see the last picture what Amy said about the blue bunny?
See? So do you think maybe we should add something else? So he was,
what the blue bunny was doing.
I'll let
Something's
you
wrong
see in
with
just a second.
it.
What's wrong with it?
The brick wall was at the end.
The brick wall was at the end, but it says he was happy the wall worked. He got his basket and he ran in to pick vegetables, but the bunnies were in the basket and they ate his vegetables anyway.
And he got bamboozled into the basket.
Yes. So I have a question. Quiet. I have a question. If your friend, say in Miss Hines' class, that had never read this book, if you told them these little summaries about this book, do you think they would know what the book is about? Is that pretty complete? I think so.
Because I not read it from the book. And you didn't know.
Well, this is your way of sharing with them what the book is about without having to read the whole book.
Or like they read it from home and they didn't.
They could read it at their house. All right, Miss Lacey is going to show you, we have a little worksheet today, and it uses the terms beginning, middle, and end. Rigoberto, look right here. It says, in the beginning, and just like we did, you would write a sentence and say what happened in the beginning of the book. And then it says, in the middle of the story. Well, we already talked about what happened in the middle of the story. And then it says, finally, in the end. And you write about what happened in the end. But then remember what Miss Lacey said? Author's purpose. Raise your hand. Don't say it out loud. What do you think the author's purpose was for this book? Think about it. Finn, what do you think this author's purpose was? He was mad, but was he trying to persuade you of something? Aiden, was he trying to persuade you? Was the author trying to persuade you? No. No. Was he trying to give us a lot of information? Did you see a lot of like real pictures and things in here?
He's trying to entertain.
Okay, oh, that's good. I think he's trying to entertain too. So I would put on this one where it says author's purpose, I would look over there to that chart to see how to spell entertain, and I would write, he's trying to entertain. Entertain. Yes? Okay. So how do you feel? Do you feel pretty good? Thumbs up. You think you can do this worksheet? Does Miss Lacey need to leave these sentences up here? But do you have to use these sentences? Or can you fill it out? Yes, you can write something else as long as it's about the book. Yes? All right, let me see. Who are my team leaders for group 1? Who's doing? Sawyer, would you come get your team's papers, please, ma'am? And if you're in group 1, you may go back to your group. Remember, what do you do first thing when you get that worksheet?
Write your
name. Group 2. Who's the leader for group 2?
Andrew.
Andrew. Let's see if I got that up. All right, group 2 may follow Andrew. Group 3. Come here, Gracie. One second. Group 4. Alright, group 4 may follow Wyatt.
Maybe white honey.
Hang on just a second, you gotta wait on Gracie. She's gotta get your papers. Who is group 5? Gracie. One more. You may follow Brayley, group 5. Sorry. to do that while Gracie's talking. Name at the top.
What did it say?
It says in the beginning. See right here? We talked about it. Beginning, middle, and end.
Oh,
And that's your sentence starter. I'm gonna come around and help you, but it's like we talked about this book. It's gonna be right here. Leah, Tristan, come get your book, please. And remember, you don't have to use these sentences. This was just our ideas from our turn and talk. And I think we did a really good job of summarizing the book. I underlined in red so you understand that's the beginning, the middle, and the end. Name at the top. On number 1, it says in the beginning.
what story are we talking about?
Muncha, muncha, muncha. We just watched it. We just talked about it. The book I had in my hand.
A
Where's your
munchie.
pencil, Lynn?
I'm gonna write. My name is Muncha Muncha
You can write muncha, muncha, muncha.
Muncha.
You want me to put it on the board? Uh-huh. Well, make sure you write your name at the top first. Can you see that, Gracie? Muncha, muncha, bring it up. Well, write this a little bit smaller, but you can also turn around the back and put the number 1 beside it, so I know it's number 1 you choose. Okay? Good job. And remember, when you get to the last question and it talks about author's purpose, we have our poster right here and it has the word entertain. Because the author, we talked about it, he's not trying to inform you of something, he's not giving you information, he's not trying to persuade you of something, he's entertaining you. It was a funny book. It was a funny book. So, and these are sentence starters in the beginning, and then you finish the sentence. In the beginning, Mr. McGreeley grew a garden. Make up your own sentences. You don't have to use Miss Lacey's. Mr. McGreeley, make sure you write a little bit smaller so you'll have room. But if you need more, flip it over on the back and just write a number 1, okay? And continue it on the back.
Muncha Muncha Muncha.
Good job. Doing your own there. I like it.
Write your name up there.
Good job. He wanted to eat vegetables, so he grew. I love it, Ryder. Good job. He wanted to eat vegetables, so he grew a garden. That's a very good summary of the beginning of that story. Good job. Aiden, name at the top, please, friend.
Muncha Muncha.
So think about it. In the beginning, he what? He wanted to grow a garden.
How do you spell that?
It's on the board. And that's one of our red words, wanted. Wanted. What's your sentence going to be? He wanted what? To grow a garden. Yeah. Very good start. Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna
You sure can. Okay. You make your own sentence. Those are just ideas up there. Those are just your ideas from Turn and Talk. You can most definitely make it your own. Write your own sentences. But we know the beginning. He wanted to grow a garden, and so he grew a garden. So you could put in the beginning, Mr. McGreeley grew a garden. Or you could say he wanted to grow a garden. But remember in the middle, we talk about that problem. He had a problem. And there was those bunnies. Wanted. Oh, good job. Good job. Try to write a little bit smaller so you have more room. That looks good. Good handwriting. Yes, ma'am. Either way, I think your handwriting's really good. Don't stress it. I think it is great. I like it. He got mad that the bunnies ate his vegetables. Good job, Ryder. Good job. He wanted to have a garden. I like it. I like it. You're making your own sentences independently. Aiden, what you thinking about? Are you thinking about in the beginning? How are you gonna finish it? In the beginning, what? The main character. Who's the main character? Mr. what? McGreevy? Or you don't have to put his name. I guess it's kind of a funny name. It's up there, but you can just call him he. If you want to say in the beginning, he wanted a garden, or he grew a garden, okay? What do you think? Good job, Andrew. So he did. I like it. He shortened his sentence. He put he wanted to grow a garden, so he did. I don't know for what? Grew. It's right here on the board. Oh no, I guess yes, it's right here. Grew. Grew. You can call him he, because it's already got your sentence started. So look, in the beginning, Mr. McGreevy, in the beginning, he wanted to grow a garden. If you want to, that'll give you more room. I know it's a really lengthy name. In the beginning, he wanted, what does that make? Make his garden. So look up there and you learn how to spell the word garden, or you can sound it out. What two letters say R? A-R. And then D. Alright, and remember in your sentence, always put your period. I like it. Want. W-A-N-T. Good job, Leela. And make sure you write your name at the top. So now you're thinking about the middle. What happened in the middle? What happened in the middle of the story? Oh, okay, I was talking to Savannah. She just got back in the bathroom. In the middle of the story, what happened? What was the problem? You told me on the carpet. The bunnies, what?
Some bunnies ate his, some bunnies came and ate his vegetables. So he had to build a gate and then build a wall.
So in the middle of the story, some bunnies came and ate his vegetables. Now then you got to do the sentence going. A. Well, what says A? The letter A. And if the A says A, what says T? And if the A says his name, what's that magic at the end? Magic E. Good job.
Hey,
Yes, ma'am.
I spelled the bunnies.
A.
I started and I finished my entire book.
He wanted to eat vegetables, so he grew a garden. In the middle of the story, he got mad at bunnies that eat vegetables. Finally, in the end, he thought he'd be afraid of the bunnies being food with him. I love it. And he turned the name. Good job. I want you to say that. I'm gonna let you read your sentences here in just a minute. You sit quietly and read a book, okay, while we wait on our friends to finish. When you're finished, you can get your library book out and read quietly because some of you guys have really great sentences I want you to share. Good job. Now think about what happened in the middle. I mean, you can. We talked about it. Those are your ideas that we talked about. So, I mean, you can use those if you want to, but you can also make them your own. You don't know what to write for the ending or for the middle? The middle, think about what happened. It's up on the board. If you need an idea, think about it. What happened in the middle? The bunnies ate his vegetables. He built a brick wall. I mean, you can use
Is there an all word up there?
Is there what?
All word.
All? Do you want to spell all? A-L-L.
I'll put that there. How do you spell veggies? Is it veg?
Up on the board, Miss Lacey has spelled vegetables. Right, vegetables.
I want veggies because like for short. How do you spell veggies? Like vegetable for short.
Well, I want you to try your best. You're not going to need to count it off. You're close. Veggies. So try to put a I-E-S at the end, and that's veggies, man. remember. Oh, you got great handwriting. Good job, friend. Is anybody done with theirs?
I am.
Besides Finn and Ryder and Vaughn? Okay. I'm going to, you don't have to stop working, you can keep working, but Ryder has some really great sentences. Ryder, do you wanna share your sentences? Alright, bring your paper here. I'm gonna let you after Ryder, okay? Alright, good listening ears, be good listeners. Ryder's gonna read his sentences. Alright, Ryder, in the beginning, what happened? What did you write?
He wanted to eat vegetables, so he grew a garden.
Okay, what happened in the middle of the story?
He got mad that the bunnies ate his vegetables.
And then finally, in the end,
He thought he was free, but the bunnies bamboozled him.
bamboozled him. And what was the author's purpose?
Entertainment.
Good job, you may turn it into the basket. Awesome, turn it in.
Oh, no.
Son, Finn, you wanna share yours? So you keep working, Rigoberto, you keep working so you can share yours too, okay? You have a little bit of a rub spot. It'll be all right, don't touch it, I think it's just from you rubbing it, babe. All right, everybody looking up here, Finn's gonna share his sentences. What happened in the beginning, Finn?
He wanted to grow a garden, so he did.
Good job. What happened in the middle?
But bunnies ate his veggies.
Okay, now what happened in the end?
So he built a big pool, and the bunnies did not eat it.
Okay, and what was the author's purpose?
He wanted to entertain.
Good job, turn it into the basket. Annie, are you done? Remember what we talked about, that's the author's purpose, and you look right up here, we decided it was to entertain, so you just write the word
How do you
entertain.
spell work?
Worked, think, what says work? W, uh-huh, uh-huh, worked, what are the two letters you got at the end? E-D, you got it, Leland, you got it. Are you ready to share, Vaughn? I hope it didn't say bag of beans in there, Mitzi. All right, everybody, Vaughn wants to share his sentences. Vaughn, what happened in the beginning?
He wanted to grow a garden,
Did you hear that? He wanted to grow a garden. Good job. What happened in the middle?
but then the bunnies came to munch.
But then the bunnies came to munch. I love that sentence. The bunnies came to munch. All right, and in the end? The bunnies. Again? So in the end, he said the bunnies started to munch again. And then what was the author's purpose? Or we talked about author's purpose. Was it to persuade, inform, or entertain? Good job. Good job. You may turn it in. Yeah, why you want to share yours? All right. Wyatt, what happened in the beginning? All right, it says he wants to build a garden, so he built a garden. Good job. Now speak louder. I want you to read the middle. What happens in the middle? Oh, he said the bunnies sneak into the garden to munch. That's a good sentence. Now what happened in the end? All right, go right bamboozle. You done? Oh, you wrote it above. Okay, good job. All right, make sure your name's on it and turn it in the basket. All right, you want to share yours? We're going to let Kaylee share hers, and then Addison's going to share hers, okay? Read your sentence. Read it loud because the air's on, and Owen couldn't really hear why. Read it loud. In the beginning. Good job. Haley said the bunnies ate his vegetables, so he built a big and tall brick wall. Good job. Now what happened in the end? Oh, he was happy. He thought the wall worked, but then the bunnies tricked him. And then the author's purpose was to entertain people. Good job. Turn that in, friends. All right, Grayson wants to share his. You want to share yours? All right, just a few more, okay? Were you finished with yours? Yeah? All right, talk loud. We just turned that air off to talk loud, okay? Good job. In the middle. And then in the end, he said in the middle some bunnies ate his garden, and then in the end, what happened?
He built a brick wall and finally shared.
He built a big brick wall, but then he finally just shared with the bunnies. Good job, good
How do
job.
you spell bamboozled?
Bamboozled, that's a big word. Bamboozled. Can y'all help me spell that? Okay, wait, I'm gonna spell it right here. B, bam, what's it? Okay. Bamboos. What comes next? C, L, and then what do we put at the end? Bamboozled. What two letters say? ED. Thank you so much. That is a beautiful word. Bamboozled. That's our fancy word today right there. Fancy. Bamboozled. That means to be tricked. The bunnies bamboozled Mr. McGreeley. Are you ready to read it? All right, Addison wants to share hers, and then Sawyer's going to share hers afterwards, okay? In the beginning, what happens? What happens in the beginning? He wanted to make his garden. So she said in the beginning, he wanted to make his garden. And now in the middle, carrot. She says in the middle, the bunnies ate all of his vegetables, all his carrots. And then finally in the end, what happens? The bunnies tippy-toed into the basket. Good job. And then author's purpose is to entertain, right? Good job. You may turn it in. Sawyer.